let's hear about your full fart.
Good evening, everyone. Full fart is a Greek word. And I will tell you how I find out. A few years ago, I went on a romantic dinner with my ex-girlfriend, Spiridula. What, you know her? And it was winter time, so we went to a nice tavern. We found a very nice table close to the fireplace. We sat there, and then the waiter came, he gave us the menu, and a few minutes later he came back to take our order. And I have to say, I was a little bit surprised when I heard what Dimitroula was craving that night. So she ordered a bean soup and broccoli salad. I see some of you are good with chemistry. So I decided not to pay too much attention at that time. So the night was moving on, we're having a good time, everything was going flawless. Before I continue, are you all aware of the fire triangle? Well, let me tell you, before I became a captain, I was a safety officer and I was teaching crew members about fires. So in order to have a fire, you need 3 elements. Number 1, you need oxygen, more than 21%. We had that. Number 2, you need heat. We're sitting next to the fireplace. We had that too. And number 3, you need fuel. You combine the 3, you have fire. So before I tell you what full fart is, full fart has 2 intermediate stages. The first one, which is by far the most popular, it's called quarter fart. And quarter fart is a technique that it's used mostly on cruise ship elevators. It's also known as silent death. So let me tell you how it works, because on this cruise we have 2,600 first-time cruisers, so it's a good thing to get educated about quarter fart. So in order to perform a very good quarter fart, you need minimum 3 people. So when the time comes, you let one silently go, and when it kicks in, you blame one of the other 2 people. If it's only 2, we both know who did it. There is no surprise there. So the more the merrier. And sometimes, in some rare occasions, it can be used on married couples as a tool of revenge. So you're having a fight with your other half, you go to bed, nobody's talking to each other, right? And you're waiting for your other half to fall asleep. And then when you're 100% sure that they're sleeping, you let one slide. We all know that bed covers are highly insulating. It won't go anywhere. So from there on, it's just a waiting game. So at some point, your other half will either try to change sides or go to the restroom, and that's when it's going to hit. And the success here is that because they're going to be half asleep, they don't know if they did it or it's you. So it's a win-win situation. And then you have the second stage where it's called half fart. This is mostly used on public restrooms. So for example, you've been on board Celebrity Sources for 6 full days now, and I still see people going in the public restroom. They get inside the toilet, they close the door, there is a gap of 1 foot between the door and the floor, and somehow these people, they're under the impression they're inside the soundproof booth. We can hear you. Other ships in Alaska can hear you. And then you are the ones complaining why we don't see whales. So the Mitrula, after what she ate that night, the bean soup and the broccoli salad, of course you all can understand what this creates. All the disturbance in the stomach and the generation of lethally gas. So when the moment came, she tried to perform a quarter fart. Unfortunately, while she was trying to do that, she sneezed. And it came out as a full fart. So, all I can remember from that night, it's a huge flash. We ignited, like it was a big, spectacular flash. And I woke up in the hospital the next day. And the worst part of all is that when I woke up, I realized that my beard was gone. But luckily I'm Greek, so it grew back the next day. So, full fart is when you try to perform a quarter fart and you sneeze. True story.